Lời đầu tiên xin chào các độc giả đã đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com. Khi tìm đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng, chắc hẳn bạn đang mong muốn tìm cho mình một công cụ tốt nhất trong quá trình rèn luyện kỹ năng. Kỹ năng ở đây có thể là kỹ năng lãnh đạo, kỹ năng bán hàng, kỹ năng mềm, kỹ năng sống và rất nhiều các kỹ năng khác. Thông thường khi nghĩ đến việc rèn luyện các kỹ năng như chúng tôi đã đề cập ở trên, chúng ta thường hay nghĩ đến việc tìm mua cái đầu sách hoặc tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Nhưng trong cuộc sống bận rộn của thế kỷ 21, thời gian và tiền bạc là hai thứ luôn bị giới hạn nhiều nhất. Với sự ra đời của website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com, chúng tôi mang đến cho bạn một công cụ tốt hơn trong việc rèn luyện kỹ năng của mình, đó chính là các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng. Bạn sẽ không còn phải tốn quá nhiều thời gian để đọc sách hay tốn quá nhiều tài chính để tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Chỉ cần bỏ DVD vào đầu máy, ngay lập tức bạn đã có thể tận hưởng những thước phim quý giá được chia sẻ từ các diễn giả nổi tiếng tại Việt Nam và trên thế giới. Website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cung cấp đầy đủ cho bạn các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng trên nhiều lĩnh vực. Tất cả các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng của các diễn giả nước ngoài có tại website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com đều có phụ đề 100% hỗ trợ tối đa cho quý độc giả khi theo dõi. Rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cam kết chất lượng tất cả các DVD khi cung cấp cho quý khách hàng. Với hân hạnh được phục vụ cho rất nhiều các khách hàng trên cả nước. Chỉ cần click đặt hàng, trong vòng 1 đến 3 ngày bạn đã có thể cầm sản phẩm trong tay. Rèn luyện kỹ năng hân hạnh được phục vụ quý khách.
I've attended and belonged with many organizations that claim to change your life, change your attitude about yourself, and this is totally different. I feel like I can apply it now. I didn't know how to before. Robert Allen made me see that you have to get out of your comfort zone to attain any of your goals. It's easy, it's simple, it's doable, and I'm going to do it.
I was impressed with Robert Allen because of his sincerity and he has this trust. I just trust Robert Allen. I just trust him.
The most important principle that I learned at the Robert Allen seminar here in San Diego was that you need to keep a balance in how you take a look at doing your investments. And I also learned some other things about personal ways to manage finance, ways to handle tax-related items, and a number of other important issues that aren't just strictly related to real estate. That was an added surprise. I wasn't expecting the seminar to go into those areas in the depth that they did, but it was a real treat, and I really am very happy I attended the seminar.
Certainly, my child, who's 8 years old, can use much of this information, and it's going to be just wonderful to impart this information to her, because I feel so good about myself that I'll make her feel better about herself.
And I've never heard of Robert Allen before, and I received his letter a couple of months ago for the wealth training. And something inside of me said, I need to do this. And I took the letter and I thought I didn't have the money, so I borrowed the money. And I came out here and stretched myself more than I'd ever done before, taking a big risk. Telling my friends, and they were saying, oh, what are you doing? You know, I can't believe you're going to be doing this. And so I decided to go ahead and take the risk and come out regardless of what anybody else was saying. So I came out to the program of the wealth training and met Robert Allen for the first time, and learned how to, in the wealth training, learned how to build wealth, either short-term wealth building or long-term wealth building, how to create wealth, how to save wealth, how to protect your assets, how to protect that wealth. And not only that, the wealth training gave me something inside of myself to reach down and see the wealth that was in myself, to help me achieve the goals and dreams and aspirations that I have, that everyone has.
Hello everybody, my name is Robert Allen. How are you? Great. All right, we're going to be talking today about creating wealth all day long. We're going to talk about how to make money flow into your bank accounts faster than they've ever flowed before. Does anybody disagree with that? Well, how many of you like to have some more of that? Raise your hand and say, yes, Bob? Yes, Bob. Absolutely. Well, that's what I want to do here today for you. And I'm going to take some experiences that I've had over the last 20 years of teaching people how to create lifetime streams of income. I'm going to download that into your brain here today, so that as you leave here today, you go out the rest of your life, you'll be able to do what you really want to do, create the kind of wealth you've always wanted to create for yourself, achieve the kind of success, because starting today, that's going to happen. Now, what we're going to talk about is some of my experiences on how to create wealth. I've been teaching wealth for a lot of years. I graduated from college in 1974. I graduated in the 1/3 of my class that made the top 2/3 possible. And I want you to know that I didn't start off to be rich. I just started off to be financially independent, but I didn't know quite how to do that. And most people in our country don't know how to do that because they're not trained. Did you ever go to a class in all your college education and all your high school or elementary education that talks about how to create wealth? Did anybody go to a class like that? Wealth 101? How many went to Wealth 101? None of you? Who teaches us how to manage our money, how to take care of our finances? Does anybody teach us? Well, where do we learn it then?
Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. We learn it from our parents, most of whom didn't have it. We learn it from our school teachers, most of whom don't believe you should have it. And therefore, none of us learns how, in the greatest country on the face of the planet, how to create wealth. There's no class on it. Nobody teaches it. Well, we're going to learn that class here today because I think everybody should learn the fundamentals. And when we're finished with today, you're going to agree with me, I am absolutely certain, that every school child in America should be learning what we're going to be teaching you here today. And that's why we're actually creating this program, so that anybody can watch it and learn it. In a very few short hours, you can make dramatic improvements in the way you think about money, the way you control your money, the way you handle money, the way you spend money, and all those other kinds of things, all right? Now, who am I and how can I make these kinds of claims? When I say graduated in college and I decided I wanted to become financially independent, so I went right into investing in real estate because nobody would hire me. And since they wouldn't hire me, the point was I had to create it on my own. I had to talk to people who had done it before. So how do you find people who have done it before? And ask them and work with them to create it. A fellow I was working with in one of my church organizations had created a lot of wealth through real estate. He was an extremely wonderful individual, and I loved him. And I went to him and I said, Paul, teach me what you know about real estate and about creating wealth. And he took me under his wing and he taught me a lot of the things I'm going to be teaching you here today. Every one of us needs a mentor, somebody to just kind of guide us along a few stumbling steps as we get started. And that's what he did for me. Then I started to buy some property, invested, and pretty soon I had 4, 5, 6 different properties and more, and they grew and grew. Had a few failures along the way. Everybody does. You fall on your face every once in a while. And then I figured it out, and that's when I wrote my first book, Nothing Down. It became a #1 New York Times bestseller. And in order to publicize that book, I said a very bold statement. I said, send me to any city, take away my wallet, give me a $100 bill. And in 72 hours, I'll buy an excellent piece of real estate using none of my own money. Well, the LA Times heard that statement. Actually, it was printed right there in a full-page ad in their paper. And when they saw it, they had to approve the ad. And there was somebody in the legal department says, can he really do this? And they said, well, we think so. And they said, well, you better challenge him to make sure that he can. So they called me on the phone, sent an LA Times reporter to the Los Angeles airport, and they agreed upon time. I showed up there early in the morning, and the LA Times reporter handed me an airline ticket, and we flew to San Francisco. That's the city they chose. Dropped me in that city, took away my wallet, gave me 5 crisp $20 bills, and 57 hours later, I had bought 6 pieces of real estate, over $600,000 worth of property, and proved once and for all that anybody can go into a city and having, just basic knowledge about creating wealth in real estate can buy property with little or no money down. To that point, it was kind of like breaking the 4-minute mile. Nobody really believed that it could be done. Then I wrote my second book, which is called Creating Wealth. It became also a New York Times #1 bestseller. The challenge I did for that one was send me to any unemployment line. Let me select someone who's out of work and discouraged. In 2 days' time, I'll teach them the secrets of wealth. And there are secrets. And in 90 days, they'll be back on their feet with $5,000 cash in the bank, never to set foot in an unemployment line again. We went to St. Louis, Missouri. They dropped me right there in front of the unemployment office. I walked right inside to talk to people who were literally on unemployment. It was the scariest experience I ever had in my life because I wasn't familiar with that environment, frankly. I don't like to be unemployed. I just don't want to get anywhere close to that area. But I wanted to prove that anybody, no matter who they are, can create wealth from no matter where they are. Because a lot of people, when I did my challenge in San Francisco, they said, well, Bob can do it. He's got an MBA degree. He's got a master's in business, which didn't mean anything, frankly. Yeah, he's experienced it before. He's bought raw property before. But what about somebody who's never done it before? And so we went to the unemployment lines and picked 3 people, Mary, Philip, and Karen, and Nora, and pulled them right off the lines and taught them for 2 full days a lot of the information I'm going to be teaching here today. Actually, you're going to learn here today, in this one day, magnitudes more information than I knew back in the middle 80s when I taught those people in the unemployment line. So this is going to be much better than they received. In fact, in a less period of time, they went off to make their fortune, and all of them did very well, created $5,000 cash in their 90 days, and off they went to create their long-term goals, which is what you're going to do too. When I did my third book, when the challenge came out, I wrote a whole book about that experience. It was a very powerful book for me. I went on to the Regis Philbin show. How many of you heard of Regis before? Regis and Kathy Lee. They challenged me to come on their show in skeptical New York City to pull somebody out of their studio audience, somebody who wanted to achieve financial freedom in a short period of time. The audience was about this size, frankly. Anybody that was in that audience could have been selected to come right on the show with Regis and myself and Kathy Lee. And well, let me see. If you were in that audience, how many of you would like to come on up on the Regis and Kathy Lee show in front of everybody and let me teach you how to... Yeah, well, that's what happened. That's what happened. Pat Watson was sitting right over where Roland was sitting. And she says, I want it. And she was excited.